welcome back, and long overdue and always delighted when we have a chance to sit down with Brad Dacus. Brad is the president of the Pacific Justice Institute, one of the great organizations out there, frontline warriors on your behalf. You can go to pacificjustice.org is the website. They are fighting on your behalf all over the United States, and support them. pacificjustice.org. They actually have an office right here in Oregon as well. Brad, sorry about the earlier communications, but we got you figured out. How are you, buddy? Good to see you.
Oh, I'm doing just great. And it was interesting. We had the studio painted, and I forgot the fact that everything wasn't all plugged back in. So as I come down to get on the studio, I went, oh shoot, the cameras, everything was. I appreciate your forbearance.
No. Welcome to technology. It happens all the time here. It's an everyday occurrence. A lot going on, friend. Quickly, how would you, from your perspective, judge the first 100 days of President Trump?
I'd give him an A, almost an A+, but for the fact that the Department of Justice is not going to be challenging the sending of abortion pills to red states. Red states governors are fighting it. Looked like the Department of Justice was going to back them. They didn't, with that one exception. Otherwise, he'd have an A+. But this president has been the most outstanding president in my lifetime. What he has accomplished in the first 100 days has been absolutely incredible, from a fiscal perspective, international perspective, and of course, policies protecting the family, protecting religious freedom. It's been absolutely fantastic. Over the last two weeks, I've had 2 trips to Washington, D.C. One was in the West Wing, working with an executive order that we've drafted, and we're hoping it's going to be signed by the president. He seems to like it. And so needless to say, we're on a whole nother level of operations here at Pacific Justice Institute, hoping to have to take full advantage of a president who is not hesitant to do what's right for America.
That's wonderful. All right, one of the big things is reining in these district court judges that seemingly trying to influence national policy making. There's 2 issues here. The case of whatever the case is they bring to the table, obviously that could be appealed to the Supreme Court. But the crossing the lines of the jurisdiction, that is a procedure that could be adjusted by Congress. Is that correct?
Yeah, it could be. Definitely could be. But frankly, it shouldn't have to come to that. We should have the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Roberts. He should be moving and correcting and reining in this judicial activism that, frankly, I've never seen. I never thought I would see, where you have a federal judge trying to control foreign policy, national security, control the executive branch. One federal judge. And this has been pointed out before, even Ginsburg, or should I say Kagan, she has pointed this out before, where there's a problem when you have one federal judge dictating to the whole nation what is allowed, what isn't allowed, and as opposed to having rulings that are limited to just their jurisdiction. When the Ninth Circuit comes down with a decision, for example, then the Ninth Circuit is above district courts but below the Supreme Court. When they came down with the decision, it's binding only on the Ninth Circuit, only on the states in the Ninth Circuit. So why should a federal district court, a lower court, have the ability to issue something that's binding on the entire nation? It makes absolutely no sense.
All right. So the balance of the jurisdiction adjustment would be the responsibility of Congress redefining the jurisdiction of that court, but the case itself actually stopping the president from deporting bad people, which is a national security issue, that case could go to the Supreme Court to be heard, right? And it could be defended based upon the fact that the court has no business pushing this bad thing.
Oh, right. And the courts in the past have given great deference to the executive branch's responsibility to establish policies, both foreign and domestic, dealing with national security, especially when we're dealing with people who are not U.S. citizens, who are not only not U.S. citizens, but are not here legally. And people say, oh, that's, they should be entitled to due process. Well, no, case law says clearly they're not entitled to the same due process protections as U.S. citizens or people who are here legally. In fact, there's, of course, you have the the Secretary of State and the State Department has tremendous breadth and authority pursuant to the interests and the protection of the interests of the United States to deport people immediately, even people who are here legally as immigrants. But then when you have people who are here as illegal immigrants, um, they can be removed and deported. They don't have to have a trial. The Obama administration, more than 85% of those that were deported had no hearing or anything. They were just deported. Now, I will say this. People say, well, what if they're an actual U.S. citizen and they're just deported? Well, everyone has an opportunity to file what's called a writ of habeas corpus. So if I'm suddenly going to be deported, I can call my attorney. He can file a writ of habeas corpus, show my driver's license, show my birth certificate. Boom, I'm safe. So we even have some due process to prevent these things from happening when we're dealing with alleged illegal aliens that are being sent back.
Where do you think this is going to end up?
Well, I'm confident that this Supreme Court will do the right thing. I think we have 6 votes, maybe 7, that will act responsibly with regards to the rights of the president. If this was the Obama administration, there was no objections to these actions during the Obama administration. So this is very political. I think the majority of the Supreme Court will see it as such. Sotomayor and Jackson, I mean, they're sort of activist Supreme Court judges. I don't give them much weight or count on them in the future when looking at cases like this. But the overall majority of the court, I think, will see this for what it is. It's dealing with executive powers. They're acting within both the statutory authority they have, as well as case law and the Constitution.
To some of the things you're passionate about, you've been really working hard on parental rights, especially it relates to school districts and things. Your organization's all over the country is a hawk on some of this stuff. Give us a quick overview.
Yeah, right now we are very aggressively litigating like never before issues of parental rights. Specifically, we're dealing with school districts that we're discovering are engaging in activities of grooming, of using pronouns and things like this that parents don't know about that violate the rights of parents. We have cases from New Jersey and Michigan and all over the country addressing these issues. I think we're going to prevail. I think the pending case law with the case pending before the Supreme Court right now out of Maryland, I'm very optimistic how it's going to turn out. We at Pacific Justice have standardized opt-out forms on our website for free for all parents across the country who, for whatever reason, still have their kids in public schools. We're so optimistic about the outcome. We're already in the process of preparing new, broader opt-out forms to protect parents' rights who have kids in public schools. We are seeing the trend moving in the right direction, and we at Pacific Justice Institute intend to take full advantage of this, both in terms of litigation as well as legislation at the state level, as well as at the federal level.
When a school violates an executive order, now I realize there's a state issue, then it gets down to a school district issue, school boards and all that, and they openly violate a presidential executive order. Is the only consequence the lack of funding?
Yes, unless you can show that their violation was also unconstitutional or a violation of federal law. But the executive order, the teeth that the executive order has is funding. And so the president can say, hey, if you're not going to respect the rights of parents, if you're going to secretly groom children, you get no federal funding, case closed. That can be done by the President of the United States. We're banking on that as we at Pacific Justice are moving on 2 potential executive orders that will both further impact public schools as well as parental rights moving forward. So it has teeth, and that's why I've been flying to D.C. the last few weeks to take advantage of those teeth even more.
Were you surprised that Columbia University acquiesced and are now laying people off because of the funding?
I think it's glorious. I am so happy. Columbia University is a disgrace to higher education. The professors there are a disgrace to higher education. More than 100 signed a statement effectively endorsing Hamas in protest against Israel. Their anti-Semitism goes deep. Now, I take exception with their School of Business, the School of Economics, but overall, how they've behaved and conducted themselves has been outrageous, and they don't deserve to have one penny of federal taxpayer money.
Boy, I wish I had you for the whole hour. Sorry, buddy. How you doing? How's everything going for you?
Yeah, we're doing well right now. We're trying to hire more attorneys. Believe it or not, we're stretching our budget to do so because there's just so much opportunity in the way of cases out there. We see the window to take back America for parental rights, religious freedom,
Good.
and it's an exciting time. We have we're working with legislation in 20 states right now, as well as over 270 cases in active litigation. So
All right, go to pji.org. That's the website, pji.org. Good to see you, Brad. Let's stay connected, buddy. God bless you, friend.